know y'all are used to me making funny videos, wearing this hat, but I'm not going to wear the hat today, or do anything funny. I just want to say, last night there was a town board meeting, and it was for the Whispering Pines vote. And I want to thank everybody on the town board, no matter how they voted, for voting how they felt, okay? Because that's what they're there for, regardless. And whether it was yes or no, and no matter who you are, thank you, okay, for voting the way you felt you wanted to vote. And it was in the best interest that you saw for the town, without pressure. I appreciate that. It's a hard thing to do. But I want to talk specifically about Evan Christow's vote. Christow. I don't want him to have to commit to being my friend, but I know him personally. He's a good man. He's a man of integrity. Following my goofy little video here, just kind of explaining it. I don't have to use exclamation points and commas this way. It's about 16 minutes, and just take a look at it, watch it. He explains why he voted the way he did and why he decided this time around to vote the way he did, because he did vote no before, and now he voted yes in favor, and it passed with a super majority vote. And I just want to add that Jack Dodson and Shelley Dodson have gone around and accused pretty much all the members of the town board, with exception, of not having integrity. It doesn't take somebody that has guts to tell somebody they don't have integrity. It doesn't take somebody with guts to harass people and all that jazz at meetings because they know the board has to listen. Jack and Shelley Dodson led up a coalition of 30 people or so to cost the town money through bringing this to court and all that. And now I'm going to make a safe bet and say that they will try to drag Evan's name through the mud as much as humanly possible, which is a disgrace, because I know Evan, maybe not the best, but I know him on a personal level, and I know that he is a man of integrity, and he puts thought into stuff, and he works hard to find answers and to listen. Again, take a listen. It's 16 minutes. The whole video from the beginning of this till the end is, it'll be 20 minutes or so. But it's worth it, because you're going to start hearing Jack and Shelley probably slander the man, call him a flip-flopper, say he's a bought guy and stuff like that, when I know that's not true, okay? It's just another failed attempt and a desperate measure to find salvation in costing the taxpayers of Rotterdam money through litigation, time, aggravation, and mistruths. So I present to you Town Councilman Evan Christow.
Ms. Mark, would you call the roll?
Mr. Christow?
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to explain my vote. Okay, and before I get into a few certain details, let's get a few things straight. Over the last few days, I've had the privilege to speak with over 100 people, in person or by phone, regarding this project. Although in the surrounding areas of Whispering Pines, the opinions were pretty much a 50-50 split, as I started to interact with residents in the remainder of the town, the sentiment was clearly in favor. Anyone, I repeat, anyone who reached out to me and was willing to meet with me on a one-on-one basis, I made myself available. And I thank all of you, whether you were in favor or against, for taking the time to share what was in your heart, because I think that's one of my responsibilities at the town of Rotterdam. Okay? on a one-on-one basis. Anyone willing to meet with me, who reached out to me to meet with me on a one-on-one basis. Who I wouldn't meet were people that seem to have the need to take a narcissistic and attacking approach, because there's no value there. Okay, I denied no one. After last night's commission meeting, as I was wrapping up a meeting, a one-on-one meeting with Councilman Signori, Mr. Lisi appears at my front door in my restaurant. He very humbly asked me for a few minutes of my time. Now, I have met with everybody on both sides of this issue. The developer himself, who came to my door and asked, and was willing to leave if I didn't want to talk to him, asked for my time. I felt not only was it a responsibility for me to listen, but it was a responsibility for me to hit him head on with every single concern that I have heard from the residents. And I'll share those and the responses that I have both in writing and my analysis as I did my due diligence, okay? People are talking about integrity, okay? I do my due diligence, okay? And those who are complaining about being bashed, they forget very quickly the bashing they've done all along here. Very quickly, okay? What is my responsibility as a councilman? To advocate for all 21,000 residents of the town of Rotterdam. To exercise fiscal responsibility to benefit the residents of the entire town. To be accessible to all residents and to listen to all sides of an issue. Do my due diligence and move forward in a manner that is best for the entire town and its future. This has not been an easy couple of weeks for me, because I live in that neighborhood, and it does affect me as well. And those of you who were kind enough to pray for me, those of you who came to me in a civil matter, I thank you and I appreciate you. And I will continue to advocate for your concerns. This is how I approach the privilege of serving this community, and it is a privilege, and this is how I approach every decision. Okay? And to the best of my ability, I'm going to share that due diligence with you this evening. Okay? I want to begin by the appellate court's opinion. The decision from the appellate court division last month affirmed that the senior living district was not spot zoning. The town's comprehensive plan addresses that senior population of the town is growing and will continue to have special needs for certain types of housing and services. And it advises the town to expand opportunities for housing arrangements to meet the increasing needs of the elderly and disabled. The court stated, contrary to the plaintiff's assertion, the rezoning of the senior living district does not conflict with the comprehensive plan recommendation, that the existing residential character of the area where the senior living district is located should be preserved, and that the commercial development should take place in another part of town. The SLD is a residential district. I agree. Now, let's see what is different from last time. Since the approval, which this body approved 3-2 based on the information that it had, certain things move forward. And the town has been able to expand the Hamburg Street Sewer District with 2 extensions with the approval of the Whispering Pines development. The people who live on Hamburg Street, many of whom are seniors, now only pay $273 a year for the debt service on that sewer district, which used to be nearly triple that. So the community is already benefiting. Okay, now you have to ask yourself, if you were in this seat, would you want to go back to those residents and tell them, not only do you have to go triple that, but you also got to make up the money that you got reduced the last time around. It's a hard decision and a hard thing to have to go back and unscramble that egg. Okay? The town will receive $535,000 in grant money for sewer 7 Extension 2, the Carmen Road Extension, allowing those residents and business owners to grow their business and use more of their yards and land as they abandon their septic systems and they connect to the sewer extension. The development of Hamburg Street and Carmen Road to a mixed-use community and its revitalization is actually quite exciting. Okay. I've always believed in building bridges. I believe in bringing people together. I believe in dialogue. I have listened to the people that have put me here. I believe in ideas that move our community forwards. These are some of the reasons why I chose to run for this board in 2015 and again in 2019. What has disappointed me in this process, as I mentioned, is the misinformation, the nastiness that has permeated some of the opposition of this project. They never let the facts get in the way of a good story. But their story is not actually true. What is true is, as the lady on Fabian Drive, I'm going to look up your name because I already forgot it. Ms. Comboy was, as she very eloquently said, is that the town needs senior housing. The people who I have seen decade after decade at my business deserve to stay here in this town that they grew up in. They deserve to have the ability to stay close to their families and stay in the community that they love. I value my integrity, and I'll challenge anybody on the value of my integrity. You can disagree all day long with whether I vote yes or no on any project. Don't question my integrity when you don't have facts to back it up. I've thought long and hard about each and every comment, every phone call, every good or bad point that were made about this project. I've always listened and continue to listen to you. I have concern that I've raised with the neighbors, the developer, and the planning commission. And based on the conversation I had with Mr. Lisi, at times I'm looking back, I might have gotten insulting, and if I did, I apologize for that, because it was a firm conversation, okay? So you can say, oh, you can make your fingers like that, Ms. Dodson, all day long, okay? But that just points to me a more powerful vision of clarity on what the real purpose is here, okay? All right? Now, another concerned resident shared some concerns with me, some what-ifs, okay? And not only did I receive answers in my own research, our town attorney, our planning commission, but also from the developer himself, okay? And I have all my notes here, and I'm going to go through them one at a time, because I promised the person who sent me these lists that I would go through them one at a time, okay? The first issue had to do with the Forever Wilds of Tukazine project to contain project, ensure no future building beyond an original proposal, okay? The developer has given a big okay on that, and also there's a 100 to 101 foot buffer in place, okay? The term Forever Wild, the only problem there is that I believe there's some infrastructure, you know, one of the justices challenged that on the fact that stormwater and berms are not considered development, and stormwater and berms will exist there, if I'm not mistaken, okay? There was a question about some fencing to block view of the commercial property from residents boarding the project, okay? The College Division agreed that this is a residential development, not commercial. The request for screening is typical at the planning board level. Mr. Yule is here, so he's hearing us loud and clear, and my notes have been passed on to him, and is a subject that is addressed with nearly every application for new development, okay? All right? And some of the opinions about excessive tree removal seem to be more opinions than facts, okay? From what I have been told, the tree cutting, he did not exceed the tree cutting limit approved, but that's for other people to research. I'm just bringing it out there that it might not be actually factual that he did exceed those limits, okay? Residents have communicated concerns for dark sky lighting type fixture to be utilized as they are less invasive to the existing neighborhood. The planning board directs lighting to be shielded and down, contain flooding, and also require photometrics to demonstrate that the light will be zero at the property line. I'm aware of this because my parking lot lights in the restaurant are similar to this. Okay? This is also a subject of site plan approval. Okay? As far as the kind of lighting that would be cohesive to the homes within this community, the developer has given an emphatic yes. Are there sidewalks proposed to be placed on Helderberg Avenue for safety of those residents walking due to the increased traffic? Okay. Okay, in front of the property there will be, and again, if the planning commission feels that there's more that's needed, then that's, you know, I will advocate for that on behalf of those neighbors. The more sidewalks, the better. We're all on board with sidewalks. Okay, what is the plan of the facade of the buildings, homes proposed? Will they have brick and masonry to be cohesive with the homes within this community? Okay. Where is it? Hold on, just, I know this was here. Okay, there it is right there. Again, yes by the developer. Okay, from the planning board committee. definite concept of what each building will look like, and the planning board will comment ultimately and approve the facades and materials. So, Mr. Ewell, please leave here knowing that the surrounding neighbors wanted to blend in with the neighborhood, and they'd like to see some masonry and brick. Okay? Are there any sidewalks we talked about? Okay. Building heights of 60 feet. That's up to 60 feet. Doesn't mean they have to be 60 feet. From what is my understanding, it is a 3-story building, and if you're standing on Helderberg Avenue, you can only see 2 stories. Does anybody need to correct me on that, or am I accurate on that? Okay. 60 feet is the maximum height for the building, not a required height. Okay? Again, the buildings are also subject of site plan approval. Okay? There is an existing 100-foot buffer. Okay? As far as 20 feet apart for each house, anybody looking to buy in there, and from what I understand, there's already a wait list of over 50 people. When you're a senior, you don't want to walk 50 feet to your neighbor. You want to be able to get to your neighbors. Would you say, Ms. Tomboy, that's a fair statement? Okay, and no, they cannot be turned into duplexes, as it is very clear in this. I've heard comments to the tune of, well, this thing is being written for this project. Yes, it is, but that also protects you from being able to change it into duplexes down the road, correct? Okay. Water and sewer operation maintenance costs are under the town law and are specific to the district in which the project is located. All costs and debt service will be borne by Sewer 7 Extension 1, which is Whispering Pines, correct? Okay. In previous C55 and older communities proposed, demand was not met and then opened up to anyone. Examples, White Birch, Long Pond Village. Okay. It is my understanding that neither project proposed was to be a 55-plus community or senior housing. This statement is false. This senior living district zone is the sole zoning classification for senior housing. So again, misleading information, okay? What control, if any, would the town have for future phases of the project if the developer sells out? Anybody's entitled to sell the development, but still, Article 16 of the town law details all the powers, rights, and responsibilities of the town planning board. All phases, no matter who owns the property, are subject to site plan approval. Okay? How do we limit or restrict future expansion proposals to take over the surrounding residential properties that border this project if he tries to expand? Okay? That would need a zone change to proceed, which I've already spoken to many of my colleagues, and I do not see that happening. Not with this board. Okay? Can the town board limit purchasing adjacent properties? No. I just bought an adjacent property to my business, okay? Anybody's free to sell their property any way they see fit, as it is their right. Okay? Okay, the town will continue, as far as some of these violations is concerned, I'm just going to say that the town will continue to fully comply with its MS4, local laws, state regulations, statutes, stormwater stop work order. A stormwater stop work order allows work to continue for site stabilization. Okay, let me repeat that again. A stormwater stop work order allows work to continue for site stabilization. So these statements are misleading to the public. Okay? Is it possible to secure a bond to ensure this developer and actions are kept in check for the duration of the project? I also have an emphatic yes by the developer on that as well. Okay? So now let's talk about the vote we took when this passed at 3-2. Okay? It passed 3-2 under what we interpreted in favor. These colleagues of mine that voted yes are people that I respect greatly. Clearly, things have changed that benefited the town since then. So now, due to a technicality that the appellate court had to go all the way to a case in Arizona because they've never seen a case like this. All of a sudden now, I'm sitting in a position here to make or break this property. I want everybody in this room to ask yourselves one question. Should any one individual, should any one person on this board yield such power to be able to undo what this board duly voted on, 3-2 in favor, and then all of a sudden I'm supposed to come here and create and somehow have that kind kind of power. I don't like having that kind of power. I don't want to have that kind of power. No elected official should have that kind of power. Okay? So, having said that, I will continue to advocate for those neighbors and those concerns. I will share what I have heard from these people with the Planning Commission. Okay? I will make sure that, let me just finish my note, train of thought here, okay? I will make sure